The secret suitcase and the silent escape. Why she abandoned 10 years of perfection. The Single Woman Diaries. I want you to look closely at this image. The ring. The forced smile. The one thing you can't see is the subtle shake in her hand when she took this photo. This is the story of Eliza, and frankly, it might be your story too. She was the woman who had it all on paper. The perfect partner, the ideal home. But on the night of January 17th at 2:14 a.m., she looked at the life she had built and asked the most dangerous question a woman can ask. Is this truly mine? Think about it. What is the cost of staying in a life that drains you? Elisa didn't run from a monster. She ran from a beautiful golden cage that she, out of fear and obligation, had co-designed. She packed 3 things, just 3, and left an entire decade behind. If you are watching this, if you've ever felt like an actor in your own life, or if you're mentally prepping for your big exit and reset, this narrative is your confirmation. Do not click away. What she chose to pack tells you everything about starting over. Let's talk about Elisa's facade. Her life was the vision board of society's expectations. By 35, she was ticking all the boxes. The chic apartment, a high-earning finance job, and a 10-year relationship with Lucas. They were the gold standard. Every Instagram post, every dinner party was proof of their harmony, and this is where we, as women, get stuck. The massive mental trap is this. If everyone tells me I have the perfect life, I must be crazy to feel miserable. You felt that pressure, haven't you? The pressure to maintain the image because the thought of disappointing people is scarier than being unhappy. But the truth, as Eliza discovered, wasn't in the visible successes. It was in the invisible vacuum. There was no drama, no shouting, there was just a slow, suffocating absence of joy. Her relationship with Lucas wasn't a passionate partnership. It was a carefully managed business merger. He was kind, yes, but predictably boring, and his emotional distance was her constant, quiet antagonist. You know that feeling when you realize you're putting more energy into maintaining the relationship than into living your life. Elisa had become the chief operating officer of their shared life, while Lucas was the absentee board member occasionally checking in. This facade demanded constant performance. She'd wake up and put on the grateful and satisfied partner persona before applying her makeup. The energy tax on this lie was enormous. She'd flash back to that moment on the Sunset Cruise, the one that got 500 likes. Lucas was checking his stocks, and she was posing thinking, I would pay anything right now just to be alone on my threadbare couch, reading a cheap novel. That cognitive dissonance, the gap between her reality and her performance, is what eventually snaps us. The breaking point for Eliza was almost comical in its banality. It was a normal Wednesday, the kind of day that bleeds into every other. She was in the shower, the steam filling the bathroom with the manufactured scent of Ocean Breeze body wash. Lucas called out about a flickering hallway light. Honey, call maintenance tomorrow. And in that moment, the water running down her face, she wasn't angry at the chore. She was paralyzed by the exhaustion of being the default fixer. She was sick of being the janitor of his comfort. That's when the voice, the one you've been silencing, finally broke through. I am not his assistant. I am not the fixer. I am Eliza. This is the moment of radical self-awareness we all need. Lucas loved the version of her he created, the successful woman who came home and switched roles to the domestic goddess. But he never saw or asked about the real Eliza hidden beneath the surface. And the most heartbreaking part? She had stopped asking herself what the real Eliza wanted years ago. She realized her biggest obstacle wasn't Lucas's indifference. It was her own complicity, her choice to prioritize stability over the sound of her own soul screaming. This is the moment you transition from fearing loss aversion, losing the comfort, to embracing gain anticipation, gaining your life back. Her decision wasn't spontaneous. It was a well-executed escape plan. It started with reclaiming her agency. She quietly opened a separate bank account, the Freedom Fund, which Lucas knew nothing about, feeding it with discreet savings. That account became her permission slip. This is the reciprocity trigger in action. I give myself financial independence, therefore I earn my personal freedom. Next, the suitcase. She found an old inconspicuous black cloth bag at a second-hand market. It had to be invisible, untraceable. She hid it, empty, deep in the wardrobe. It wasn't just a suitcase, it was the physical manifestation of her intention. It was her secret altar, the only place in the apartment where she could mentally stand and feel the fierce pulse of her own life force. The planning itself was a vital part of her healing. It was the moment she stopped being a victim of her life and became the architect of her future. The night of January 17th, Lucas was sound asleep, blissfully unaware, his loud breathing a countdown clock. It was 2:14 a.m. She rose silently. The old wooden floorboards groaned under the weight of her choice, a sound louder than any argument. She retrieved the black suitcase. Now, here's the key question for every single woman watching. In your own silent escape, what is truly essential? Elisa understood that the luxury items, the expensive jewelry, the stuff, it all belonged to the old contract. It was baggage, not necessity. She packed 3 items, and only 3. The first was her teenage journal. The place where the uncompromised Eliza still existed, dreaming of art and solo travel. The second was her passport and all essential documents. The tangible authorization to step into the world as a singular entity. And the third, this is the most profound item. It was her reclaimed identity, an old, stained, threadbare college sweater. It smelled of her true passions, paint and coffee, and was the one item Lucas had repeatedly told her to throw away, calling it trash. She took the trash she rejected because it was the part of herself she needed to survive. The final perfect act. She placed her wedding ring on top of the maintenance light note. The contract was terminated. Her resignation was effective immediately. But listen, the escape was the easiest part. The real, terrifying beauty begins the next morning. What would she do with the terrifying, vast blank canvas of freedom? If part 1 was about the courage to leave, part 2 is about the terrifying, exhilarating weight of staying gone. Elisa had made her grand exit at 2:14 a.m. But what happens when the adrenaline wears off and the quiet sets in? That's where the real work and the real story begins. Elisa found the first cheap motel she could outside the city limits, an anonymous place that smelled faintly of chlorine and old carpet. When she closed the door, the silence wasn't the dead silence of her marriage. It was a loud, empty silence. And suddenly, she was hit with the first wave of post-escape panic. You know this feeling. It's the moment your body processes the trauma you just put it through. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the black suitcase, her single connection to her new reality. For a terrifying 20 minutes, she didn't feel freedom. She felt like a fugitive. The mental trap she had to fight was the shame trigger. What have I done? I ruined everything. I chose uncertainty over comfort. This is the moment most women turn around. They convince themselves that the known pain is better than the unknown possibility.